Okay, so we have built this automation where we'll scrape LinkedIn profile data from our database. So this is our first database. Here we have LinkedIn profiles of prospects, and we are going to scrape their profile to get their email ID, where they work, and what do they do, where did they study, and all these details. So let me first show you the demo, and then I will go to the step-by-step tutorial on how you can do it by yourself. So open your n8n dashboard, follow along the whole tutorial, and let's build this together. So right now we have 115 LinkedIn profiles data that I already added during testing. And now let us run this scraper and see how it is getting more profile data. So we are using this Apify scraper to scrape profile details from LinkedIn. And then we are updating all those data in this Supabase table. I have also explained why I am using Supabase tables instead of Google Sheet or Airtable. It's not mandatory. You can also do this using Google Sheet or Airtable or any kind of structured table. It is basically getting 50 profile data at once, and let it process this first. Processing is done. It got 27 profile who has more than 100 connections, and 21 who has less than 100 connections. We are disqualifying them. As you can see, the workflow is completed. Now let me go back to my table and refresh it. As you can see, more data is added. We also got some of the email IDs of these people. And with email IDs, we are getting their company name, their headline, job title, what was their education, all this data. Let us get into the actual step-by-step process on how we can do it. In profile scraper from scratch using Apify scrapers, where from the LinkedIn URL, we are going to scrape their all profile details. If their number and email ID is available publicly, we can also scrape those. So in this video, I'll show you step by step how to do it. First, I'm gonna take a manual trigger node, and then we need to connect the database where all the LinkedIn profile URLs are. So in this case, as I'm working with Supabase, so I'll show you how to do it with Supabase. But in your case, you can also do this with Google Sheet or Airtable or wherever your data is. Okay. So I am gonna use this Postgres note to select rows from a particular table. Gonna choose this one. This is one of my projects where we are reaching out to people who are currently hiring for some position. Schema would be public, and table would be the person data. Okay, now let me show you how the table looks. So this is a table. If you are not familiar with Supabase, just imagine that this is a Google Sheet. These are the column name. Okay. And these are basically people. So these are the company name. Let me create this column. And then in this company name, we are going to scrape the LinkedIn profiles of these people. who are currently working in this company and are decision makers or working in a leadership role. As you can see their title here for this company, and this is their LinkedIn URL. So let me just go to this LinkedIn URL and let me show you what we have here. So let's say what we are also going to apply on filter. The filter would be, let's say, if that particular person has less than 100 connection, then we are going to skip scraping or getting their data on our table. Let me get another profile where maybe more information is available. Okay, here 500 connections and all these details, including the about section and experience at different companies, and then their education, recommendations received or given are going to get scraped. That means they did not provide their email ID and phone number publicly, so those don't come here. Okay, now let us build the automation. So I'm gonna take this LinkedIn URLs from this table and then scrape those details and register the scrape data in another table. Okay. First, let me just create a table that will tell us about the status of the scraping for a particular profile. LinkedIn pro LinkedIn scraping status. That's scraping status. You might have the question that why I am using Supabase instead of, let's say, Google Sheet. If you're interested to know that, just comment and I'll tell you why. I said this. Sorry, I missed one thing. The default value I should doing it to not done. Okay. And let me also add the status of not done to all this entire row using a SQL query. Okay, so we are gonna use Perplexity to write the SQL query. I'm showing you this because my purpose here is to show you that you don't need to know how Supabase works and you don't need to know coding, and you can do all of these things using AI. That's what I am intending to show you. So I'm gonna come here and write me an SQL query to update the column name LinkedIn create data to the column, not column name, then update the column to not done. I mean, the which table? Person data table. And this is gonna write me the SQL query that I'm gonna use to update all the whole column at once. Okay, I'm gonna copy, come back here, paste it, check if this is what the column name is. Let me just open this in another tab. Let me just the table once more. Person data, it looks okay. Then scraping data. Okay. And it's saying that this particular column not available. Why it is saying that? The link, okay, because I have made a mistake. No, it's okay, right? I don't know what question mistake, maybe the name or something was missing. Now let me come to the table with its sheet. See, all are not done. So this is the flag I'm gonna use here. I'll add this condition that if this particular column equals to not done, then though it should return 50 column because now the limit is 50. Let me just set it 5 or maybe 3 because we are gonna do some testing, right? And for testing, we don't want to consume much of Apify credits. Okay. Now, before I move to the next step, let me just rename this properly so that it is easier for us to reference later. Get URLs. Okay. Okay. Now we have the URL. So for scraping, we are gonna use the 10 profile scraper. There are hundreds of LinkedIn profile scrapers. We are gonna choose the one which has good users. Is it only 71? Okay, now this one has 33K. Let me check this one. Let me check the price of this one. This is $10 per 1,000 results. So you will pay around 1 cent for one profile script. Okay. So we are gonna choose this one. Now as you can see here, let me show you a test run. So if I come here and if I copy one of the LinkedIn profile, show what I have. This guy has pretty much good followers. She is director of people at this Andres group. Now using this Apify actor, if I just add this URL, hit save and start. Let us see the data it is giving us. So this is about section, country, address, pictures, birthday, industry, company LinkedIn, company website, job duration, education. Her email ID is also there, which I am getting from ICP. My plan is to first check the LinkedIn profile using this scraper, and if possible, we are going to get the email from here so that we don't consume much of ICP credit. We are getting all this data so that when we will send the message to her on LinkedIn, it would be working. It should be sharp because nowadays there are a lot of competition and thousands of people are dumping outreach messages. So you have to really differentiate from them. Okay, so now how do we do this? We are going to go to the view API reference, and here are all the actions that are enlisted, which actions you can execute depending on your requirement. For us, we are going to run the actor. Now, there are multiple ways to run these actors. We are gonna use the one that will be giving us the whole scraping result without adding an extra step. So we're gonna choose this one. Run sync get dataset item. And as you can see, the method would be post. So let me come back to n8n, create a HTTP post request. Method would be post. URL, this would be the URL. You just copy this. Then we are gonna send our API key and all other details to this scraper. Okay, so this particular URL is generic URL for any Apify actor that you want to run. Now we have to get the actor ID. This is the actor ID. We have to copy this one. Now we will send the headers using the body. I'm coming to that later. First, set up the headers. Here, first one would be accept on name, and value would be application or JSON. And we have to add this is our API key. We have to put the API key authorization, your name, and the value. You have to write bearer and then your API key. Okay, I'm gonna hide the API key. You have to write bearer, space, and then we will go and get our API key. If I store, I mean, it does not matter. And go to here, integration. Here is the API key. Manage tokens, and you can just use this one, default API token. Let me just copy this, and we are gonna paste it here. Okay, but I'm not gonna show you the API. Okay, now in the JSON, okay, so we have three inputs from the get URL node, previous node. We have three URL. We are gonna send all these three URLs at once. We can also send one by one, or we can also send three URLs at once, because Apify lets us process in bulk as well. Let's say if you want to send 20 URLs at once, you can also do that. So for that, what we are gonna do is that we are gonna aggregate only these URLs only this profile URL and send it in a format that Apify needs. Now the format, how you will know what format Apify needs? Let's say this is one URL. Let's say we have multiple URLs. Okay, this is the input. We'll see how it looks in a JSON format. This is how it looks. So this exact format we should use while sending the data. The format should be exactly the same as here. Let me just copy this one. Only then the actor will work. Okay. So now we are gonna create an array of all these LinkedIn profile URL and then send those URLs in a new line to this actor. That's what we are gonna do now. So for that, we are gonna use our favorite loop over items. Batch size, let's keep it 3 for now. Okay. We're gonna delete this. Okay. We are gonna take this edit field. In edit fields, we are basically going to take the field that we want to pass to the next node. Okay. So this is URL. I am going to take the URL here. I am also going to take the ID, which is our Supabase row ID. Okay. This one. So the ID is basically the serial one. So over all the my different tables, these IDs are same, and I can reference which data it is tagged to on this another table. Okay, okay, we're gonna execute it. It has three items, right? One, two, three. We are going to aggregate now. What we need to send here, as I have shown you, we need to send this in this format, right? No ID, nothing we can send. So from these three items, we are gonna take only those URLs for us to process. This is our input field URL. See, it has created an array of the URLs. That is what we are gonna send here. Profile URLs, and we are gonna paste this value here and see how does it look. Okay, we have copied it, but you see that the URLs are not in new lines, right? On the same line, there is another URL. Now, I think that Apify scraper would hallucinate. If we send it like this, it will. So we have to format it so that each profile comes in a new line. We'll use code which we can easily generate using AI. And you see the format. We need to send the data in this format to the Apify scraper. That is what this code is doing. And let us see if it is working, whether our scraper is giving us any data. We have bad news. Let me check what is the problem. Okay, we did not add the content type that the application or JSON. And so there was this problem with the API key, and now it is working. The tape vector will run, and then it will get all the profile details. There you go. And now, before saving this data, we are going to add one if node that will search for number of connections. Since this is a number, you can see, right, this hashtag mark, it tells the type of data, that is number. So here we have to select number. It is automatically changed to number. This number is greater than 100. If that is true, only then we are going to take those data. Otherwise, we won't. Okay, so all of them are has connection request below 100. So we are not gonna record those in our database. Okay, so we have to find data for testing. See whether it's going through this true node or false node. What it is returning here, the structure of it would be the same. And we need this structured data to configure the rest of the automation. So let me just ping this data so that I don't want to run this scraper again and again for testing purposes. So now we are going to log this data in our database, assuming that these are true. We're going to do that, but later we're going to change it to the true node. But for now, I am proceeding with the false node. Okay, we have this data and now we are going to log all these details. So let me just copy this one and we are going to update our table. Here, the operation would be update. No, insert or update because it's new data, right? Columns to match on would be, no, the table would be LinkedIn. Column to match would be ID. So the operation would be only insert. We are gonna insert, but we'll send the ID as well. Okay, so now we have to create the columns inside Supabase, right? So we don't have any columns here. We have to add the columns which we want to update. So what we are gonna do is that we are going to copy this item and go to AI, create a columns in one click instead of doing this manually. I'm gonna write that create me columns on the table named then write me the SQL query to create the columns on the table named LinkedIn so that I can get the following data. ID, full name, email, location, university. Do we need that last education university? Yeah, maybe we need. No, we don't need. We are going to dump all those details in one table: education, experience, recommendation, recommendation. So we read given about what else are there. Do we want their profile picture as well? Do we have their profile pictures? Okay, we need headline, we need job title, and header. What else? Connection, connections, followers. Okay, we are also going to collect current current job started and company name. Current job started, its location, company currently working. We will create a separate column. Work experience, we are going to dump in a single row. Okay. I'm collecting all this so that we can personalize the message as much as possible. Profile picture, of course, we are going to, I'll show you later why I am taking a profile picture. Background picture, okay, let's take profile picture high quality. Picture high quality, no, okay, we can select that later, right? Profile picture, what else do we need? Public identifier, skill. Let us dump skills as well. Skills, you don't know which will trigger them to reply to our message. Education we already did. Honors, we are going to take another beautiful thing. That is similar. We are also going to scrape a name and this thing. But we are gonna dump all of this for now. Then if we feel like processing this, we are gonna do it. For now, we are gonna just dump this thing, okay? People also viewed. People also viewed. What else I should be collecting? Recommendation given, I already did it. Okay, let us also take this one. Volunteer causes. Volunteers for this. All now, while creating the column names, make it without any separation between, so that it becomes easy to read for later. Okay. Okay, so we have our SQL query. Most of the data is text, that is what we want, and some are JSON format. Let us see how it works. We are gonna go to the SQL editor and we are gonna run this query. Query executed. The table was already there, but I prompted it wrong. I told it to create the table, but the table is already there. We need to update just the column names. Okay, we have the new SQL query, full name, email, mobile, education, experience, received, recommendation, job title, headline, connections, followers, start date, company, skills, awards, file viewed, volunteer. Let us just copy and paste this SQL query here. Execute it. Okay, now we have it. Email, mobile, education, experience, receive, job title. Okay, we think we can rearrange. Okay, later we'll rearrange this later. Okay. Okay, so back to our n8n workflow. Now we are going to update everything. We are gonna hit refresh and ID. We are gonna pass the ID that came from the previous previous one. Where is ID? We are going to copy the ID from the other table itself. Here we have processed this, that person data ID, and this would be the same database, relational database. You can build it on Google Sheet as well, but long process. Let me just drag and drop email, mobile number, education. Where is education? Experience, here, education. So you just dump the whole thing here. Experience, we are gonna dump the whole experience here. Okay. Recommendation, receipt, relations given. We're gonna dump it as well. Recommendation given, about section, about job title, job title, headline. Okay, so I have dropped all these things on these columns, and now we are gonna hit execute. Education expect a object, but we got an array. Okay, I think we have to stringify this. Again, we will go to perplexity and tell stringify this. Okay, we're going to take this one and paste it here. Now, if I hit execute again, you will see that the error will come with experience. It will tell that experience is expecting object. We have to stringify all this array, as you can see, but it stringified this and made it a JSON object. Let me execute. Okay. Okay, it got a problem in the education. So let me do one thing. Let me just change the type of data of the education from JSON B to text. Okay. Okay, now the problem should come with experience. No, not yet. Still the error is there. Okay. What is the error? What does it say? Invalid input for education. Did we refresh it? Okay. Okay, now the error should come in the experience. Let us see. So what we are gonna do is stringify all this column, and also we are gonna update the type of the data from JSON B to text. Okay, let me do that. Okay, so I have stringified all the columns now, which was array, and it execute invalid input. Let me change the type of job start date to text as well. So we don't waste time formatting all the time. Okay, job start date. No, I did not refresh. This is one of the annoying things. Okay, we have another error which says that EID is not present. The way I thought it would work, it is not working the same way. So we are going to get the ID from here. Just for your reference, we are getting the serial, right? 394. That is the row number from where we are getting the data. And I want the row number to be consistent along all these three tables. That's what I'm trying to do here. So this is 37. Stephen, Maggie should have the same row number 37 on this table as well. That would help me later in a lot of tasks. To do that, I have the ID, but I am not taking this while sending it to the LinkedIn scraper. So now we are gonna take the ID as well, the aggregate field. So we're gonna take the ID, and now I can also use the ID to match the column. Sorry, to insert the column, not match. ID and get from this aggregate node. ID is at the first one, there 0. Okay, that was my bad. I should have pinned the LinkedIn scraper. It is executing. Let me ping this again. I did not refresh it. Let me go to my Supabase database and spreadsheet. Come back here. Duplicate key violate constraint LinkedIn ID key violates any constraint. Let me just fix that in my database. We're gonna go to the database and we on keep it as unique. And what we did is foreign key relations to public person data ID would be this. They remove this one. Say now let's see. Okay, it executed. Let us see. Okay, but a new problem arrived where all this data are sent. To fix that, what we need to do is remove the ID attribute for now. We won't bother about ID. Right. Let us take the full name as primary. Let us delete these roles and ID. Just delete this ID column for now. We can create the relation later. Now we won't update the ID anymore. We'll only update the profile details, that are 3 profiles, and these are updated. All these details are getting updated. Now we have to close the loop. When it is done, we have to also update it here that it is done on the previous table, on the public table. Operation would be update, and we will be matching on what attribute. Name could be different. We'll go to the schema. Which attribute is also there, and that would be the same. Okay, I think we are gonna keep the ID column again. If we can keep the ID same as the previous column. So how we are gonna do that is that we will create another loop to basically get it. Matching columns to match on, we will choose LinkedIn URL, and where is the URL? Here is the URL. So serial we want to update. We are going do on the update this one, scraping status from not done to done. That's it. And we won't update anything else. Okay, let's hit execute. Again, we are having the same error that because this is primary key and it again wanted to update. So let us just delete these roles. Then we try. Done. I should have pressed here. Again, we have to delete it. Okay. Delete. Come back to n8n. Execute. Now here I want to see the output. Serial 40. From where the serial come? This serial 40 not point this height here to the serial 40. What do we have at 40? Yes, Sarah. So now we will use this to okay, let me just this would be update status, update status, and we will use this serial to again update the ID on our LinkedIn column. Okay, LinkedIn table. Sorry, no, not on the ID. We will match on we will match on I should have taken the URL as well actually. Okay, let me just create another column with URL. Keep it text. See, we will also update the URL here so that we can match it later. Let's go. Now this would be matching on URL, not the ID. URL is here. And now we will update the ID using the serial number. Okay. So the ID is same across all the columns. Let me just paste this data. Oh my God. I have to delete it again. Only then it will work. Now can see that the ID is also being updated 16,394,40 as it is in our person data table, right? 16% is Windows. Anthony. Anthony Cameron. Okay, let us just change it to true, and we are gonna close the loop so it is done. When it is done, should come back here. Let me unpin this one. And if any error happens, it should also go to the loop item, save, batch F3. Now let us see. So right now we have only 3 data. We should get more profiles scraped, right? Let me got 3 more profiles, and now actually they have more connections than 100 except for these 3 that we did in our first go. So let me just delete those. Actually, I made another mistake. I should have added. So if it is false, it should also update that status here, telling that the followers were less than 100 and we did not update it. Okay, so let's do that. One other thing I wanted to mention is that you should not make it more than, let's say, 20 or maybe 30. So at one, maybe you can scrape 30 LinkedIn profiles, not more than that. It might work, but if it fails, one error will happen and it will restart basically. Okay, let me just recap what we are doing till now. What we are trying to do is we have this prospects data in table person data. And here we have people's LinkedIn profile. This is the LinkedIn URL. Using this URL, we are scraping all of their details because we need to do research about them before reaching out to them. We are getting everything about them, and then using this URL, we are scraping using this Apify scraper and putting everything in this column, this table. Now, one thing is there is always this name, right? The person's name. We can always see which person is this and which one are updated. But let's say you want to develop a complex automation where you need the data from this table as well as this table. The reason it is very easy to do that in Supabase is that you can get the data from multiple tables at once without adding much complexity to your workflow on n8n. This is one of the reasons why I shifted to Google Sheet, to Airtable, and now to Supabase. If you want to execute exactly the same workflow that I am doing now in Supabase, in Airtable, maybe you need 5 tables to do everything. But here, even let's say I did not need 3 tables. I could have done this in 2 tables. Okay. So now, except for this person name, we are also using this serial number. Okay. This serial number here. So we are referring that same serial number as ID. in this table, let me just shift it to the extreme end. Okay, so it is easier. Okay, so now let's say whatever is updated, this particular rows are reference to this table respective rows. And I can just click and see what is there. And I can also execute the same thing using my SQL query. Let's say I want to get data from both of the tables. I can easily get that using this structure. So what we did so far is that we are getting LinkedIn profile data using this get URLs, looping over them, getting the fields that we need for this API scraper, because we don't need all the data here. You can see that we are getting all data. But when sending it to this Apify scraper, we don't need all of those data. So we are only getting those data using this edit field. So we need URL and ID. ID we don't need for the Apify scraper. I am taking this to reference both of the tables, and URLs we need. Then we are aggregating it so that it makes this array, and we can reformat it according to this Apify scraper need. And then we are scraping the things, checking if that person has more than 100 connection requests, connections, active connections or not. If they don't have, we are disqualifying them. We are disqualifying on the first table, on the person data. We are not copying them again in this new table. So we are basically disqualifying them. Let me just rename this disqualification. It's people who have more than 100 connections. We are sending them towards the LinkedIn table. Let me just rename this LinkedIn table insert. After inserting the data, we are updating on the person data table that this is done. We are changing this LinkedIn scraping status to done, so that next time when we execute our workflow, the same data is not picked up. So we are inserting data in LinkedIn insert, updating it on the person data table, and then from here we are getting the ID of that person data table, and we are updating the same ID in the LinkedIn table. Then we are sending it into the loop. Now let's do limit was 3. Let me do this 20. Okay. And loop item also, let's make it 20. Let's see. So we are gonna hit execute. So right now my LinkedIn column has only how many tables? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me add another table that will help us count the number. Row count. Column type is integers, and assign a sequential unique number to the column. That's it. Save. Okay, we'll just add one number. Let me put it here, just so that we can count it easily. Now let me execute this. So it got 20 items, sent it to the Apify scraper. Now Apify is getting all their details and then it's gonna update. So 7 guys have qualified for this, 12 guys was disqualified who have less connections than 100. Let me just, here we have 15 guys, out of which we got emails of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So more than 50% email we got just from scraping LinkedIn. And now what we can do is we can send them connection requests on LinkedIn. But what was the point of doing all this? So point of doing all this is that we can personalize the connection request and the conversation that we are going to have with them. We have this system which speaks on LinkedIn DM on autopilot. Okay. We don't touch it. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So see all these messages that I'm sending to this particular person, Pat Ahar, that's a great name. See, I am not doing anything. These are going on autopilot. These are going on autopilot. All these messages are sent, seeing autopilot. Even the connection request was sent on autopilot. This is very generic. You can see that for everyone, I am sending the same template message that we normally do. We are only personalizing using their first name and some pretty basic thing, but not anymore. Now we know everything about them. So each message would be different for every one of them. The whole thing will be built by AI so that we can just chill and the leads will come on autopilot. Okay, how much time did it take for it to process 20 data? Maybe we can increase the limit, right? Let us try with 30. Actually, I should not keep the limit here. Let's return all. And here we can, or let's say 50. Okay, let's see. And we are gonna count how much time does it take so that we can basically get the timing right of the schedule trigger. Like around 1.5 minutes, I would say. So it started processing all the data, 753 data. I'm gonna stop it once it updates everything. Now there is one problem with this. It is going through this slow and updating this one, but you see this one is not updated. Then what happens is that the nodes that are vertically on upper positions, those are processed first. And those in a downside position are processed after that. This is the sequence. We'll process this when all the data has been processed, then it is going to update that. Maybe it is a good idea to keep the limit to 50 for now. Save it and rerun this. Okay. It is again started to scrape. But remember, this was not updated, so it will reprocess those data. By this method, I am basically burning my accounts in Apify. Let it process. You see, those same data got repeated and it took less than 1 minute. So we're gonna give the time of 1 minute. So every 1 minute, it's gonna take 50 data and process it. We can increase this, however, but I don't need that kind of speed, so I don't bother. Also, since this is a new flow that we built, we are going to save successful productions as well. And once it is optimized, then we are gonna not save the thing. Let me go to my table now to show you how much data is updated. Processed 60 data have email ID. Some of them have the email ID better than ICPs. To find their emails, I am using ICPs as well. Without even using ICPs, I am able to get their email IDs. This is a good thing. This would be cheaper than using ICPs. So let me know if you have any questions and I would be happy to answer. If you like this video, subscribe to this channel and follow for more videos like this.